Always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me is Sakura and Rob. Happy New Year, guys. It's good to be back on. Sorry for everybody for the late start and the technical issues. As you can see, I'm actually using a microphone because apparently my shit is just breaking all around. But we'll get it back up and running and get back to normal here pretty soon. Uh, Guys, 2021 was a great year for boxing. But it has its up and downs. We're gonna go all over and talk about it as far as in the year awards. So, Rob, I understand you have a little rundown you want to do. So let's get to it.
Not a rundown. I just, have all my stuff ready. I'm prepared. But like you said, honestly, the boxing situation to me was crazy this year. I think we saw some of the older fans jump back to it a little bit, and then we saw them kind of leave a little as well. So it was an interesting year, but I think these awards are well warranted considering everything that happened.
All right.
Yeah.
Which one we start out with, guys? For me, I think everybody puts emphasis on fighter of the year, but personally, I like fight of the year. You know, you can forget about fighter. Make fight of the year. I think that's more impactful to me. That's maybe it's just me. But let's talk fight of the year. What fights did you guys have? For me, I think it's still Chocolatito Estrada. Uh, Great fight. I mean, that one's hard to surpass, but there was really good fights this year. I want to hear, you guys' take.
Well, happy 2020 twin, guys. I'm happy to be in this new year. Last year had some ups and some real bad downs. So hopefully, crossing my fingers and blessing God, we'll have a great year without all those downs. So basically, for fighter of the or fight of the year is what we're saying now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fight.
Fight. That's right.
So fight of the year, ugh, it's hard for me. Um, there was a couple of them because I like very competitive fights. So I still think that Tyson Fury versus Wilder 3 was very competitive and it had a very like I don't know what do you call the ending of it was a crescendo. You know what I'm saying? Like the
I
ending
definitely
was
agree.
like ah!
Yeah, it was long waited. You know, there's a big build up, and yeah, it seemed to finally have that nail in the coffin that we needed.
Yeah, it had the finale. Plus, it was back and forth with the drops. The other fight that had me excited the whole way through and tensed up a little bit. Burchell versus Estrada. Oh no, wait a minute. Am I right? It's Burchell versus the one with the nice KO. Vargas. No.
No, it was Burchell versus um
I don't know why I can't think of his last name all of a sudden.
I
We
just
got
saw
it.
the fight today. It was James will know he's coming on right now.
Oh, there
Um
he goes. Well, I'm sure he'll know because you know how he is by his lower weight. He don't play.
it was
Burchell versus what, James?
We're talking,
Valdez.
yeah, Valdez. We're talking
Valdez.
fight of the year
Yes,
right
that
now,
one
James.
had
Hello.
that
Hey,
was
buddy.
very impactful. Hi, James. We're talking about the
Hello.
fights of the year that that you thought was amazing. I'm gonna have to still go with Wilder Fury because of the competitiveness of it and because of that amazing ending, um, and the finale of the trilogy. So that was my fight of the year.
so I have four choices here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pick live on air tonight.
Four.
But
Okay.
my four picks were Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. You know I love the heavyweights. That's the name of the game when it comes to boxing, and that was a classic, instant classic. You don't hear that very often anymore, but that was an instant classic. I also have George Cambosa versus Teofimo Lopez. That fight had all the action and drama that you want to see in a fight.
I have a feeling that's gonna win a different category.
but there was a hell of a fight nonetheless.
That it
And it
was.
was
That it was.
I had Estrada versus Chocolatito. I thought that was a great fight for the lower weights, but it's a little bit down in my ranking system though. But it was a great fight, and I also thought strategically, and this might surprise people, but in a strategic manner, I thought Usyk versus Anthony Joshua was a great matchup. I thought that was a great fight. But by far, I have to go with Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, the trilogy. That one will go down in history.
Okay. Right now, it sounds like the heavy bag is going, or heavy bag boxing. Man, I went old school for a minute. Heavy bag boxing is going to award Wilder Fury 3 the fight of the year, unless James, you can make another statement that may sway us otherwise.
No, I gotta agree with you on that. It was big. It was a trilogy, knockout. Just a big lead up into it. It's pretty cool. I mean, there was a lot of good fights though. Thank God. I mean, the fourth quarter of this year really, really produced some good stuff. Fight of the year for me, in a runner-up sense, is Gaito Estrada versus Ramon Gonzalez. But I would agree with Wilder Fury. It was just huge.
Yeah, and like Sakura said, it just kind of gave us the ending that we were all wanting and begging for. We were just needing that finalization, and I think we got it. It sounds like then that is our fight of the year with a runner-up of Chocolatito versus Estrada. Two very good fights. Dalia Duran commented and said the upset of the year. Teofimo Lopez, never underestimate your opponent. I have to agree. Let's go ahead and do upset of the year now then. And yeah, I got to agree. I think Kambosos is the upset of the year. Really no one media coverage-wise was giving him any shot at all. And that's us included. So you got to give it up for Kambosos. I think that's clear-cut upset of the year. You guys have any other contenders?
I think a runner-up would be the Elvis Rodriguez versus Kenny Sims Jr. fight. And then recently, he just had another win in which he was apparently thought of as the B-side. I believe he fought the Olympian Keyshawn Davis. But he had another upset where he won, and it was decisive too. Even though it was a last-minute replacement type thing for both fighters, they agreed at the day of that they would go ahead and fight each other. But I think Kenny Sims Jr. had an amazing year, and he had two, like I said, he had two upsets for other people.
Yeah, Kenny Sims is definitely pulling it off. So,
but Kambosos by sure, because it's because it was unified, because there was such a long, lead into that fight, often on venues, different things, and people just not knowing Kambosos and having such faith in Teofimo's ability to KO, his opponents. I think it all led to people not believing that Kambosos could pull off a win.
For sure, even after that first round, because that first round was so hot and heavy for Teofimo. He came on so strong, but faded in the fight. Kambosos picked it up. Rob, I know you're getting ready to say something.
So I hope I sway some of y'all, because you actually got to look at the category and look at some of the others here. This year very well had a lot of big upsets. Kambosos versus Lopez is on the list, but I gotta say, Kambosos was a top dog. He had beat a top fighter before that fight, so he earned the right for that title shot. He didn't just come in there as a virtual unknown. He really did earn it. Then you got Ugas defeating and retiring Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people wanted that to be Errol Spence. Errol Spence was supposed to be in that fight. It's a last-minute replacement, so that's hard to judge. But guys, there's gotta be a huge upset
I
in,
don't.
in any
I hate to disagree with you here. I think I called that one. I mean, it was kind of easy to see. I think the style matchup was pretty blatant. I'm sure in the common fans' eyes that may have definitely been an upset, but I think for some of us in the boxing business, we weren't severely surprised.
which
Right?
is why it's not high on the list, but it is on the list
Okay,
because that is
I
definitely.
feel you. I feel you.
You also have Usyk over Anthony Joshua. I felt that was an upset. The way people were talking about Joshua, with how skilled he was, and Usyk really being a cruiserweight, they thought Joshua was going to be able to handle him. So I also felt like that was an upset.
I feel what
But
you're spitting because that's kind of the same as the Pacquiao one. I think in my eyes. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I would agree, but the Pacquiao, fight was more so, he's on his way out. Let's face it. And then plus he was supposed to face Errol Spence. Joshua was supposed to be in his prime.
Okay.
Or is
Sidebar, real quick. Just quick rapid fire. Even in his prime, do you think Ugas would have gave Pacquiao problems? Because I still think he would, no matter what.
absolutely not. I'm saying
Sakura
absolutely.
James. Sakura James.
In his
That's it?
prime, it would have been a freaking amazing fight. He got him late in his career, man, and jabbed his ears off, jabbed Pacquiao's ears off. But in his prime, that's a neck and neck right there. That's 50-50. Because Ugas is one bad man. Watch out for Ugas.
For sure.
For me, I really still think that Pacquiao could have won that fight had he not decided to just go straight cold turkey into that fight. Remember, he had been out since July of 2019 and came back and faced Ugas. I thought it was a bad idea when it was Errol Spence. To have nothing, you're just cold, and then you go in there and facing like high level prize welterweights. So I do think that also had some bearing and effect on Pacquiao. Ugas, on the other hand, what was intriguing to me about it was the fact that Pacquiao had never faced a Cuban fighter before, which was like mind blowing to me when I found out that was the case. So that would always be a style that was going to cause him problems since he had never had that in his experience, before. So like I'm with James on one side of it in that it's 50-50 because he had never faced anyone that's Cuban. But I'm on Rob's side when I think about Pacquiao all day in prime shape with not such a huge layover over his head in his prime. So, I'm on the fence, I guess.
I feel you. All right, we got Mike Jimenez, Hollywood, saying Happy New Year, y'all. Best wishes on the upcoming year. Thank you.
Hollywood in the house, y'all.
What's up, Holly?
So here's where
But Rob, did you have another one? I'm sorry, I did a little sidebar
here's
there.
where I hope to persuade y'all, because this actually is my pick for upset of the year. And that is Sander Martin defeating Mikey Garcia. Because again, we know who Kambosa is. We know his name. We have no clue who the hell Sander Martin was.
We do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was close. I'm not sure. Should we go Kambosos Martin? You made a good case for Martin.
And both of them are Australians, right?
No, Martin is Spanish. He's from Spain.
Spain. Okay. I know European. So basically, we didn't know them probably because we just, once again, we have a problem knowing boxers that are not US based. That was the problem with Martin. But I almost would go with you, Rob, but for the fact that Mikey has not looked good at welterweight, period, this entire time. And they had the fireworks going before the show. I will never forget that. I'm like, damn, is this the ending or did we miss the fight? Like they celebrating and the fight ain't even start yet. Like
That's
But
how big of an upset it was.
yeah, that made it look like a big upset when he didn't leave with the W. So I can see where you would get that from. I just think Kambosos is a better example just because he won like 4 unified, world champion belts to go along with that. And also just the smack and the disrespect Teofimo had for him the whole way through and feeling like he could just go in there and KO him. Those were all things that brought that to light. Like it's like Tio was supposed to win. Everybody favored him. I believe the odds were like ridiculous in favor of Tio. With Martin, I mean, Mikey didn't have a title. Mikey was still trying to hold on to this 147 dream, and so it's a little less as far as what the level of benefit was going to be. Like it was more it was more benefit for Kambosos when he won.
Well, the idea that Mikey lost to Sandor Martin is kind of hard for me to swallow because, he's one of my favorite fighters. But Kambosos Lopez, I mean, with that saga, with all the cancellations and, one guy had a COVID and then it got moved and Triller dropped the ball. And then, obviously Matchroom came in and, that's very capable hands, kind of rectified the situation and we had a good fight. And it's like you said, Lopez came in to, terminate him in 1 round. Guess what? He ain't going away. And so I don't know, as far as upsets, that was huge because like you said, Sakura, he had the belts up, all the belts up for grabs, all the marbles. Yeah. And man, that was refreshing. That was good. That easy, hands down, upset of the year.
And it was decisive.
Yeah,
it was like not even close. Like
right.
it was interesting. Like every round he was winning.
Right.
An interesting fun fact, which I believe Lucas is about to announce. But interesting fun fact, Teofimo was actually, I believe, the upset of the year with Lomachenko last year. And now this year he got the upset of the year.
That is never the way you want things to happen.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that. I was actually just gonna say I think we can confirm Kambosos now. I think Sandor Martin would definitely be our runner-up, and this being simply for what the rest of you has said. 1, there's definitely more on the line. 2, this was seen as a throwaway fight. I mean, honestly, none of us were paying attention to this fight. Nobody cared when it was on Triller. Nobody cared when it got moved. We were just like, can they just not fight anymore and just fight somebody else? We wanted it to just be over. And then when the fight happened, not only was it a good fight, but it was upset of the year. So you got to go.
I was so glad I didn't let my emotions take over because I was going to miss. I would have missed a really great fight because I was the one when you guys were talking about it and I was just like, I just want it over.
Kareem wants to know, how did you all like the heavyweight fight this weekend? No.
That's Ortiz and Charles Martin.
Yeah, that's as best I could say is no to that. But I think we're going to touch on that after we hit our awards for the year. Rob, what should we go to next? We got that one done now.
Let's just go down the line that I have. Let's go ahead and go with trainer of the year.
Not a lot's coming to mind.
All right, I'll help you out. Because of course
I'm not gonna lie.
I'll help you out. But James, I believe you do have one. Before I go,
I take that back. Well, go ahead, James. I got one.
Okay. Well, I said George Kambosos Sr. I'm not sure that his name is George, but Kambosos Sr. Okay. And why? Because he managed something really, really difficult, and that was to keep that ship on track for as many months again as they had to wait with the cancellations and all the BS that went on, and rounds 1 through 12, man, he just kept this fighter, on track, according to plan, and they didn't deviate. And they didn't. I mean, that to me was it. So yeah, right there, trainer of the year. And then, runner up is, in this case, is Eddie Reynoso. But Camboso Senior for sure.
I got
Lucas?
Sugar Hill.
Okay. Shakur?
Elaborate on Sugar Hill
Yeah, elaborate.
for a second.
Well, I just like what he did with Fury. You could see all the little nuances that he had in that third fight. He came in, more prepared, definitely for sure. Kareem actually is backing up. So, in my opinion, Sugar Hill should be trainer of the year as well. So, thanks, Kareem, for backing me up.
I
So,
need some
correct me if
options, Rob. Give me some options. Okay, so we got Sugar Hill and we got Cambosis Senior. Well, who else do you have? I know
So,
somebody gonna say Reynosa. So
Rob does
I
his
have
homework.
three.
His name's
I have
Research
three
Rob.
on the list. I have three on the list. I have Eddie Reynoso, also. So I do have Reynoso. I also have Sugar Hill on the list. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Lucas, but didn't he just also train the guy who just beat Herring,
Who beat
Jamel Herring? Isn't he training?
Herring?
Talking about Shakur Stevenson.
Maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it wasn't in that fight. I thought it was that fight, but he recently just had a bout against somebody that he was training and had a big win. I can't recall who it
we're
was.
talking about Reynosa.
Sugar Hill. He's got
Oh,
a.
you're right. You're
yeah, he's
right.
got a
He
stable.
did have somebody else recently on the card. You're right.
I
I
can't,
I can't remember who it was though.
but I had Sugar Hill on the list also. But for my pick, and for this reason, I have Anatoly Lomachenko because he actually brought Lomo back to life. Not only did he do that, he made Usyk a world champion, world heavyweight champion. I have Anatoly as my trainer of the year, finally getting him the nod because I think everybody else did regular shit, personally.
I like that. I'm surprised by that, but I like that, Rob.
I didn't know that Lomachenko was involved with Usyk.
Yeah, they're in the
They're all
Okay.
Ukrainians. The Ukrainians stick
Okay,
together.
very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were close friends, but I honestly didn't know that he did either. So
yeah.
All right. Well, so I guess I'm the tiebreaker because everybody had three different options here, right?
yeah, I'm really not sure how we're gonna be awarding this one. So go
How
ahead,
much
Sakura.
power I hold right now.
Right?
Okay, I got to recap right quick. So, James, you said whom?
As far as trainer,
Yeah,
Camboso Senior.
you said Cambosa Senior. He got 4 unified. He's the unified lightweight champion. Okay, Lucas, you said Sugar.
Yep.
Sugar got Tyson Fury on point right now. He's making most money out of all the heavyweights. And then we got Rob's pick, which is Lomachenko with his wins, and Usyk defeating
Joshua. AJ.
for 3 titles. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go with James's pick because he had the best belts. He had the most belts, the most wins. And I'm gonna second it with Rob's pick, Lomachenko. So I'm gonna go with James' pick, Campbell.
Bam.
Yeah.
And that means you're right.
And not only that, the boy got skills. I mean, he's been teaching him some real boxing skills. Like, let's be honest, it ain't no different tactics. It's not leaning, it's not telling a heavyweight how to lean and pressure people to make them tired. No, he was teaching. Cambosis Senior has taught Cambosis Junior the sweet science. So I'm going with him.
Pretty good.
All right.
As Lomachenko would say.
Yes.
So is sounds like Cambosa Senior is our 2021 trainer of the year. I guess let's go to fighter now because we didn't do fighter. We kind of skipped over that one.
I was trying to save that.
Oh, you want to say that for
Okay.
last? We can do that. What's next in your agenda
I'll
then?
say that. So next I have most feared.
We're gonna do most
That's a
feared
tough
and most
one.
avoided, or are we gonna combine those?
Most feared, you combine them. Most feared or most avoided. That's the same category generally.
Right now, I'm saying Ugas. I don't see nobody. He's got a belt, and people are like, "I ain't fighting that dude." Ain't
Well,
nobody want
that's
him.
true.
Cambosis, everybody's like, "Let me get a piece of that." Ain't nobody trying to get no piece of Ugas. I'm going with Ugas. And with a runner-up of Demetrius Andrade.
What? Say that again. Can you
I
say
mean-
that again?
Demetrius
Boo boo.
Andrade?
Demetrius
Ah.
Demetrius
Andrade.
You.
That's not my pick though. I got a different
Look,
pick.
I gotta admit he doesn't have like a lot to draw people in to want to fight him, but nobody is willing to fight him either. So you can't say that he's not being avoided because he is.
Okay, he's probably my runner-up. I'm gonna go with David Benavidez because you got the number one top dog moving up to light heavyweight, or now I'm hearing things about him wanting to do heavyweight. So Sanchez says, and David Benavidez is still sitting there right for the picking, and it's a massive fight that could be made. Tell me why that happened. And I also don't see other people in the super middleweight category calling him out either. So my pick is David Benavidez.
All right. Kareem said Errol Spence absolutely destroys Ugas. I don't know about that. I don't know
That's a
about
tough
that.
I don't know either.
I
I
don't know.
Absolutely destroys, but
That's a 50-50 in my head right now. And that's basically just the style matchup. Errol Spence hasn't seen the Cuban style. He hasn't had to fight someone that disciplined. But I would probably lean towards Spence, but not by a lot. I think that's a great fight, though. I want to see it. And you can put that on my 2022 wish list, that's for sure.
I think that fight would actually might include a KO or at least a drop or two.
Yeah.
That would be. I say that because Ugas has not been fighting anybody with the type of power that even Errol Spence has. So we haven't tested his chin basically. I'm not
Ugas,
saying he don't have one, but I'm just saying with the high level prize fighting that Errol brings and the power, it's a possibility that it could happen.
Kareem says Ugas is easy work. Kareem, I thought we were vibing there for a minute. Now I'm losing you, buddy. Easy work? I don't know if he's easy work for anybody.
Not at all.
Maybe
Pacquiao
I'm
would
wrong.
have took
I
care of
agree
me.
with that. I don't think he's easy work for anybody.
Rob or James, I think you guys still got to go.
So I'll go, and this one comes with a disclaimer. But most feared, I think, now today at the very end of the year is Artur Beterbiev. Boy, that guy is strong. He is good. He does everything well. 175 fights like a 168er. I mean, he's light on his feet, hits real hard. He's feared. I mean, he is. You guys say something, Lucas?
Yeah, I'm just backing you up. Not
Okay.
only is he feared, he's feared by Canelo, I would say, because he jumped a weight class just to be like, I'm not messing with that dude. I'm
He
gonna take
is
on a
feared.
cruiserweight before I take on Better BF. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He is feared by his mama and his papa.
The
He is
wolf-
feared.
He's the wolf, right? His mom-
Seriously, man. The neighbors see him coming, they run too. Oh my
Yeah.
God, he's got a lot of power, and he does everything well. But the disclaimer is that we didn't really see a lot of Artur Beterbiev this year, and I think that is one of the things that Top Rank has got to work on, because there's a few other fighters at that 175er that just didn't really materialize, and I don't know what it is with Top Rank. I mean, Zurdo Ramirez was in there, not at 175, but they never really did much with him. He's gone, and who knows where Beterbiev will end up when his contract's up, but we really didn't see a lot from him this year, and that's a shame. But the same goes with Bivol. Didn't see a lot, and I am assuming that they're all top ranked guys in the United States anyway. So, but yeah, no, most feared. I'm deviating a little bit here with that disclaimer, but most feared. Fuck yeah, it's Artur Beterbiev. Other than that, as a runner-up is Jake Paul. Kidding.
No,
Kidding.
everybody wants to fight him because they want the payday.
I you up on that
Mooch.
real disclaimer that you were saying. I mean, the a lot of fans actually think that Canelo is the best 175 pounder. That's how bad the promotion has been for those guys. However, my list right now, I'm gonna break down and I'm gonna choose mine. But my list has Charlo, the 160-pound Charlo brother. He's on my list. David Benavidez is also on the list.
Okay.
I also have Innuendo, the monster. Now, I know Donier's trying to call him out, but that was a brutal first fight that they two had. And nobody in that division really wants to fight the monster right now. He's cold-blooded.
Except for Donaire.
My pick actually is James's pick. I have Butterbeer.
All right.
And I think for the same reasons that he had mentioned right there. The kid is a also monster at that division. Bivol won't fight him yet. Canelo won't fight him. Nobody will fight this guy at all. And all he does is absolutely destroy everybody they put in front of him.
I mean, I just don't. Is it that people won't fight him, or is the division really not that deep?
They won't fight him. It doesn't matter if the division is deep or not. The top guys in the division won't fight him.
I only see like 2 other possible opponents for him.
All right.
But yeah, the one thing I would add for Beterbiev is that he fought Marcus Brown recently. You all remember that fight. He had a really, really severe gash on his forehead. Yeah. I mean, that was bad. And he went through several rounds. Well, I shouldn't say several, but a few rounds. So I don't want to exaggerate here, but there was a few rounds where he just kept fighting with that cut on his forehead and TKO'd. TKO'd his opponent, man. Marcus Brown's serious fighter. He's talented, but the punches were landing body and head, and with that kind of damage to his forehead, god damn, I am really, really impressed with Beterbiev. But to back up what Rob was saying, Inoue.
Yeah.
That guy is serious. I mean, we're looking at like apples and oranges here because he's so small. Fights at 115, the other guy's 175. Shit. Inoue he's just one of those guys, man. He does everything well. Yeah. Kills his opponents. He fought recently. He fought in December on a Tuesday night. And won by TKO or I don't know if it was a KO or TKO. But yeah. And that fight didn't get a lot of attention because I don't know, the time frame was kind of, it's not in our favor in a sense. Got to get up and watch it like at 2 a.m. I don't even think it was broadcasted here in the United States. I'm not sure either. So it's pretty bad.
But it was messed up. Like ESPN Plus was having issues that night. You could only see it on your cell phone. ESPN.
So that is like the second most feared man, the monster, Inoue. Oh yeah, Inoue.
Yep. So it sounds like Beterbiev wins.
Yeah, and just to back it up and answer Shakur's question.
Your pick. You went before you said someone else.
Man, I forgot my pick already.
You said the most avoided. You said that they was avoided.
Ugas. I said Ugas.
Oh, that was right.
Hold on.
I thought you were going with Jake Paul.
To answer your question, Shakura, there is competition at that level. You have in the rankings, he's number 1, of course, Butterbeer. Right. But you have Bivol, you have Gilberto Ramirez, who is 43-0. You also have Joe Smith Jr., who Canelo would rather fight than actually go up to fight Butterbeer. he's talking about fighting Joe Smith Jr. next. And then you have Callum Smith, who recently just entered the rankings because I guess he's going, and,
going up in weight. I mean, as I said two. I said he only has two opponents that people really want to see, and that was Bivol and Zorro.
Well, I'll give him Joe
and
Smith.
I guess people want to see Canelo, so that's three.
I'll give him four. I'll give him
count Smith, and I don't. People know that that he would beat Smith. People know that he would beat. Who was the other person you mentioned?
I mean, we may not know it.
That's not
I still want to see it.
Let's wait till we see Joe Smith versus Callum. Joe Smith Jr. versus Callum
I'm
Smith.
just saying, based off what Joe Smith did in his previous fight, he didn't look that impressive. Okay, I don't know if it was because of his marriage, the movement of the dates, or what, but he didn't look that good against that. Was someone they brought over from a different country. It might be another Australian. I forgot who he fought.
Mm-hmm.
The name, I mean.
Yeah, but he's got a fight coming up. He's got a fight with Callum Smith, I believe, at 175.
Callum Johnson next fight.
What's Callum's Johnson?
Callum Johnson.
Let's see how he does there. Hopefully he looks a little bit better. But the thing with he fighting Canelo is something that we can follow up on. Maybe not tonight because it's really complicated. But I do want to get your opinion on that. This is a top-ranked Canelo issue. I don't know how that was going to work out. We could talk about that later, though, because that seems like it's really contrived.
I think we're definitely going to come back to that. Yeah, for sure.
That's a subject on its own.
Yeah, it is.
A show on its own.
Kareem said, I do want to see Cruz versus Davis rematch this year. I think that would be for my 2022 wish list as well, Kareem. But, yeah, I hear some of my cohorts here saying no. So, me and you, we agree with that. I saw definitely the fight being a lot closer than what the judges had it. But I don't know. I'd love to see a rematch, but Davis himself said he ain't getting no rematch. So,
right.
I would hold on to that one.
I agree with Kareem too. That was a close one, and it should have been a rematch situation because he was hurt. Because Davis was also saying that he was hurt as well. Like, let's get everybody physically well. And
by the way, did we ever hear? Like, did he break a hand?
No,
I don't think so.
He did not. They said that he did not break it, but it was,
it was swollen.
It was swollen up, but they didn't confirm it was not.
Show me some hands that aren't a little swollen after a fight. You know what I'm saying? Excuses.
That's right.
Excuses.
But if we're talking, just to elaborate a little bit there, if we're talking, what's his name? Pitbull.
Yeah.
I forgot his last name already.
Cruz.
Pitbull Cruz. Yeah. Isaac Cruz, right?
Yeah.
I think there's something in the works with Ryan Garcia, and I think De La Hoya is backing that deal up.
I like that.
Well,
I'll take
that.
Say
I would like to see Isaac Cruz against anybody else in that division. I think he is a legit threat, not to Tank though. That's all I got. We ready for the next one?
Just one quick comment here. Kareem also said he also truly believes that Monster would be able to beat Davis. And then he said excuses exactly.
All right.
Go ahead, Rob. What we got next?
Next one, and this one you guys might not really have a big one in here, but Comeback Fighter of the Year. And everybody's drawing the blank.
Well, I'm gonna go with Nonito Donaire. I believe like he had a real comeback. Like he not only came back from his loss against Monster, but it's like he's come back from other divisions and is now having a second win in his career. So I do think that he's had like an amazing year too. And it's not like a bad comeback, but it's like a comeback as in coming back and you're now on top of the division again. And you're having problems securing fights, by the way. So I would also put him in the feared category because people fear that they're going to actually have to take some PED tests, It's like you got to take some random testing if you want to play in his playground. So people are fearing that. So he could be in two of my categories. But I think that he's had like a comeback year after his loss to Monster.
I'm gonna agree with that. I would say Donaire at his age, 39 years, fighting in that division, which is ancient for that division. But yeah, he had some really good victories this year. I just give it to him. He came back from a very, very severe loss, and he was hurt. He was injured. Came back healthy. Here he is, world title holder. So, got to agree with you.
So I had. Oh, go ahead, Lucas.
No, go ahead.
I had just two in this category, and I also agree with Donaire is on the list, but I think you got to give it to Lomachenko. He came back from that loss last year. People try to write him off. He came back from that surgery. He's back, completely back, 100%, and back in the rankings. I think you got to give it to Lomachenko.
I'm so surprised by you sometimes. This anybody that watches the show, this man hated Lomachenko, just despised him, just could not stand this dude.
And
now
the
he's
lower
comeback
divisions,
fighter of the
and
year.
anybody in the lower divisions too.
You've grown though. I appreciate that, Rob. Kareem says Andrade versus Benavidez at 168 would be a very great fight. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna also agree. I think we just got to go down there on this one. I can't go Loma with you, buddy. I'd love to, and I think it would be comeback fighter if like Loma got knocked out or something ridiculous. But we're talking about a fight that he lost that was still close, and that was a unification fight, undisputed fight. So, I knew he was going to get back up on the horse. I didn't think he was down and out or anything. So, yeah,
Most
I think we
still have him like placed as the best lightweight right now.
Yeah,
a lot of people still feel he's the best lightweight. So it's not like a comeback to me.
Yeah, and how old is Donaire?
39. He's up there.
I mean, if that ain't a comeback fighter after getting beat up by Inoue, I don't know what is. So.
And by the way, he's going down in weight. Like he's been at higher rates. Nobody does that. Nobody goes back down. So, and I'm like, we're talking about significantly down.
Right. And above all, he does it clean, which no one else can prove.
That's
that they are
true.
clean.
Got you heard.
Don't never win, baby. That finished it right there, Lucas.
Got just a couple more categories, and this plays into what Kareem just commented on. He said, have you all been following Reese the Beast Aleem? So with that being said, guys, who are your top prospect? Who is your top prospect this year?
Well, now I can't even say it because it's on there.
That is your pick, Lucas?
Oh, go ahead. Who's?
No, I don't know. It could be though. Go ahead, Sakura.
Well, I had two prospects of the year. My first prospect, I feel like Xander Zayas, y'all. I mean, I think he had like 6 fights this year, like unstoppable, improving with every fight. I like Xander. And then, second of all, I like Jaleel Hackett, but I call him like, a breakthrough prospect because he doesn't have as many fights and he just turned pro. But he still managed to get 3 fights in this year. And who's telling how many he's going to get in next year. But he had a great start, And so I like Jaleel Hackett. And then, of course, Xander Zayas for me, as far as prospects. To me, at the end of this year, with his last fight, he became a contender right there on TV at the end of that fight. He's no longer even a prospect to me.
James, who you got? Who you like?
I think Xander Zayas is it. He did hell of a job this year. A lot of appearances. guy who just fights like a monster. So I think that might do it. Trying to think of what other prospect. And I don't know that you would consider Jaron Boots Ennis a prospect.
That's
Um,
what's actually going to be a question. Is like, can we define
Has
prospect? Because I was leaning
Yeah.
towards Ennis because he
Has
really don't have a
graduated,
title.
actually.
He's
I
contender.
think he's
So
yeah
he's not a
he's
prospect. He's
above.
leaned in a contender category, I
Yeah,
guess. But
yeah, I think so. I
we
think
can
that's
put
fair.
him as maybe contender of the year. But yeah, it was-
Maybe I should have went first because I've got some interesting picks, and I have
Kareem,
category.
Kareem has good ones. Besides Aleem, he also said Brandon Lee.
Right, and there's a lot of
Excellent pick there.
excellent. But there's a lot of them out there. Is what I'm trying to say. Now, here's my list. So maybe we'll discuss this list and see if y'all change your opinion. All right, so I'll start off with Jared Anderson, the top heavyweight prospect. Had a hell of a knockout win this year. Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu has been making a lot of noise, but again, he's that overseas type of fighter, so not everybody knows him.
I would never consider him a prospect though.
20-0. 20-0. That's quite a
And that's
record.
past prospect. 18-0 is when you go past prospect. I mean,
No, Shakur, if you ain't fought no damn body, you're still a prospect.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think that has to do with resume.
I have
Hard to say that.
Sebastian Fondora. So I have Fondora also on the list as a prospect. And then ending it up, I have Connor Ben, and then I have Aleem. My pick, though, out of all of them, the ones that I like, and it was kind of a 50-50 deal between Jared Anderson and Connor Ben, but I have to go with Connor Ben. I think he has the biggest upside right now. I think he's talking the talk, and he's actually backing it up. I like Connor Ben.
He makes a good point because you did kind of see this year Connor Ben go from prospect to contender now. Rob, I partially agree with you there.
okay, partially agree. Who is our heavy bag winner? Lucas, you saved yours.
I don't know. I can't.
If
Had
you
the most
add
votes.
Kareem's pick, Aleem had the most, was mentioned the most.
Okay, we'll
There
do
you go.
TBA.
Thank you,
no,
Kareem.
it's Xander. It's Xander.
On the panel, Xander.
Oh, but I want to give a shout out to Gary Antoine Russell because
Oh my Lord.
loves him. Like
Hell yeah.
yeah, like he had a phenomenal showing, and people really, I think he gained a lot of fans this year with his fights because he's truly amazing, and he's the right size. You know how Gary Russell's so small. Like, you know, Antoine has a little height on him. He's at 140. You know he's going to be a 147er. He just has a great potential.
Prospect is tough though, man. Because what about Keyshawn Davis?
Oh man,
It is.
Yeah,
How's that? That's serious prospect.
how we
there.
leave that off?
Yeah, that's
And a
true.
lot of these kids out here, a lot of these kids are very good.
I think
Oh,
our
right.
prospect of the year is going to have just like 3 all tied for the run.
Let's just pick 3.
Yeah. All right, Rob, what's next?
Biggest knockout of the year. Biggest KO.
Y'all may not like mine
Oh,
I
good.
mean, I'm thinking they're not gonna like mine.
because it also goes with our fight of the year. I'm going to go Fury's knockout over Wilder. It was brutal.
And the runner-up.
Yeah, I mean, and it was devastating, and I mean, so much so I think Wilder may not even fight. I think he just wants to retire.
I thought you were going to say Jake Paul versus Woodley, but that's all right.
Man, I don't even. That was a setup. I don't even think that
Lucas
knockout
thinks
was
that's
real.
a setup, but me,
That was a fake knockout.
his ass was not completely out. Let's all agree. A knockout like that, you're completely out, like laid out like Pacquiao. was
know.
with Marquez. That type of knockout that's the type of knockout I'm talking about. Like when we talk about knockout out of the year, Wilder was not completely out. He was definitely delirious, but he wasn't out cold. Out cold is what I consider like knockout of the year category.
Because Wilder wanted some more.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to go with Jake Paul, guys. I hate to do it, and I'm saying
That was a fake knockout.
It was a bet. It was a boxing match, so it was boxing, and Woodley was definitely totally out. He wasn't faking
That was fake.
on that.
All right,
And
so
I have a ref to back it up. He was out.
so my list.
That's another knockout that was like they were completely out this year. Then I mean I know they were, but I don't know them offhand. Like so maybe Rob, maybe you have some more in the category for us to choose from. But I remember that knockout because he was like gone.
So Kareem made a great point. Andre Durrell did have a hell of a knockout in his last fight. That was actually clean. But that
runner-up for sure.
That was a good. That was a
uppercut
good.
was serious.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. On my list, and my criteria, I like what Shakur says. I want to see a complete knockout. I don't want to see a TKO. I don't want to see a guy who was pretty much hurt and then fell out and it was over. So the other two that I saw that were really like that was Valdez's knockout over Burchell.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great looking knockout.
Yeah.
Jogbe had a big one versus Howard that was on ESPN. That was a hellacious one punch knockout.
Mm-hmm.
That was. But Lucas is not going to post it, but my pick is Jake Paul.
Look, this is democracy.
Come on.
This is a democracy, so I'm gonna have to post it unless we can do better. Kareem says Andre Durrell's last fight.
That was real sneaky, Rob. That was real sneaky. You saved that.
Yeah.
But that Durrell uppercut was like, boy, that was mean, cold business.
It was.
Damn it, Durrell always gives me what I want, and when I lost him.
But you also have Rosado's KO over that last name I'm not even gonna try to pronounce.
Bektemir Bulakuziev or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher it.
Malakuziev, I guess.
Over the guy that he did knock out.
Okay, James, I guess you're the tiebreaker. Who you got?
What you got?
Well, I was thinking Mark Messiah over Seha, but there's a couple of others in there, and one of them is Conor Benn over Chris Algieri, who was
a hell of a
KTFO, and then you also have Oscar Valdez knocking out in a big upset over Miguel Burchelt.
Yeah,
so I think
cold out. It was clean cold out.
Yeah, I think of the three, I think Valdez takes it, and then after that, Conor Benn, and then finally Mark Messiah over Julio Ceja. That was a 10th round knockout. It was pretty fantastic because he did it with two blows, two hard rights, and it was pretty graphic. But I'll go with Oscar Valdez.
All right. So everybody got a different one except for me and
Rob.
Which
means, unfortunately, Jake Paul
you have
maybe are
to
not
swallow your
year.
pride, and I need for you to come out of your mouth.
I'm not gonna lie. I might put asterisks. May have been planned out.
Say
asterisk
out of your mouth. I need you to say it.
Asterisk.
My problem is for me, it's not boxing because those are two non-boxers just doing the sport of boxing. That was like, pros versus jocks back in the day, or what was that MTV show where people just played?
It was jocks and something else.
Yeah,
Lucas,
that was not real boxing, so it feels like it shouldn't count. That's all I'm saying.
Of his opponents, Lucas.
So.
Jake Paul has now officially completely knocked out in like the KO.
I'm hearing you. What I'm saying is
But
none
what I'm
of these
telling you is,
people
like, you cannot deny that
box.
this man has power. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is like, forget about all the rest of this stuff. You cannot deny that this man has great power. Like, he's not laying people out like they're like still around. He's like laying them out.
Look, he
That's a
ain't gonna
different
lay
kind of
out
power
an
we don't see
actual
often.
boxer. This is not boxing. This is celebrity boxing. This is not boxing.
It don't
I'm
matter.
sorry, but it has
He's
nothing to
laying
do
people
with the
out
sport.
though. He's laying these people completely out.
And I can lay out a toddler. What does that mean?
You ain't
Nothing.
laying out no Tyler, and you definitely wasn't laying out no Woodley. So just stop.
I mean, I never fought Woodley, so we don't know. I don't know.
Right.
But you
So-
still didn't say it. Knockout, heavy bag, knockout of the year is
Jake Paul.
Oh God. Jake Paul, y'all. Jake Paul won knockout of the year. Now, before we get into the really fun stuff, the last category for the night would be your fight pick for fighter of the year. I had about 5 of them. I'll go over my list because I'm pretty sure you will have duplicates. But
Before you
my
go over your
includes-
list, Kareem said Jake Paul gets my respect when he finally fights someone major. You didn't have to
Hear
fight
that?
somebody major for me. He just actually
I
asked to
agree.
fight a boxer, period. Not anybody major.
well, guess what? He tried to. He had a fight plan. That fight did not happen. It was Fury.
designed. Okay, look, I'm going to say this and then we're going to leave Jake Paul alone. Who buys their opponent a Rolex before the fight? Whose mama gets in the ring with someone and hugging on them, the person that just knocked out their son?
Woodley's mama.
Something smells fishy. That's all I'm saying.
Whatever.
Anyway, fighter of the year. Oh, my candidates are Canelo Alvarez, Alexander. Now, I kind of had like a two-way one here between these two. So I have Josh Taylor. I have George Kambosa.
Oh.
And my winner, my pick, actually goes to Tank Davis. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh,
Did you
that
just
was
pick
so like
Tank?
surprising. Yeah,
Who
that was
almost
really
lost to
surprising.
Cruz? Or may have
Did not
lost
only
depending on
beat-
somebody else?
He beat Cruz. He beat a hell of a year. That's my pick going dead, y'all.
That's the worst pick for fighter of the year ever.
Really? Oh, okay. Go through your list again, though. Out of all, who was the other?
Canelo Alvarez, Alexander Usyk, Josh Taylor, and George Kambosa. Now look, I also, which is one of our next conversations, but ESPN has liked Tank Davis so much that he has entered the time for pound list. He had a not on that before this year.
Okay, and he was the only one that did all pay-per-views. That's another thing. But you know, I'm feeling like I'm going in a different direction completely, guys. And you know, I feel like the fighter of the year is Alicia Baumgartner, baby. She did the damn thing. And she came back from the UK with unified titles. Okay. And she's getting on the map. People are knowing her name. They are liking her look. She is appearing. She was signed to DAZN's Matchroom Boxing. They're giving her spots to talk on the fighters, on the fight cards. I think she had a hell of a fight victory, and it made her a fighter of the year. I'm going with a female boxer.
Okay.
And I know you guys love her.
Oh, hell yeah. We're in love.
James?
And that KO, that should have been in the KO category too. Remember the girl, Terry Harper was, she was out standing on her feet. She didn't know she was in the ring. So that is another KO on the category for women.
Okay.
I got to disagree with you a little bit there, but simply because her opponent, Terry Harper, not the greatest opponent ever. I think she was pretty much a soft touch. But Baumgartner, beauty. What a beaut.
But
And
Terry Harper had those titles for quite some time. She was like, you know, a title holder for a minute. And that was the showing that she decided to come back on. I don't know why she wanted to come back with someone. Well, first of all, they didn't think that Baumgartner was all that. I remember listening to the commentating, and they were saying, you know, there's levels to this, and Alicia hadn't fought anybody, and blah, 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 and all this. I said, ooh, they did not know that she's with Detroit made in Detroit. Ah, this is going to be really good.
tougher than nails.
Hell yeah. Like,
well, I got to tell you,
gangster than that when she walked in and popped her real good.
All right, so I got to tell you of all these dreams I've had about Alicia Baumgartner. Let me start here. Never mind.
She had on boxing gloves, or she didn't have on the gloves at least. I mean,
nothing.
Let's do woman fighter and
what was the category?
male fighter of the year.
What category? We're doing male
Let's do
fighter?
woman and male. So Sakura, let's come
yeah.
back to you.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say my female,
because I really didn't like when I say I made her my fighter of the year. I was saying male or female, so
Gotcha.
I gotta give me some time and let me hear some of the.
Okay.
You know,
James, go ahead.
For a male fighter of the year, it's a damn good thing we're doing female too, man, because they deserve their say on the stage, their share. But the man who unified the Can Man set out to do it, got it done. The Can Man, Canelo. That's a fighter of the year right there. Female fighter of the year, I would say, is the most beautiful Jessica McCaskill. Got it done. Kept her belts, unified the whole bit. Jessica McCaskill, for sure.
I had her as my female for last year.
Yeah, I think she's the female this year too. I mean, everybody thought the Brackhouse fight was a fluke. She came back, proved that it wasn't.
No, it was good business there.
Yeah, good fight. For fighter, I'm really torn between Canelo and Usyk. I'm leaning more towards Usyk just because everybody thought he was going to be too small for the heavyweight division, and he proved that he wasn't. He kind of kicked the shit out of Anthony Joshua, which I love to see. So I'm leaning more towards Usyk. Rob, you kind of named like 5, so I think you have to kind of narrow yours down a little bit.
I already told you who my fighter of the
he
year.
said Davis. But you got to pick a female one.
Female.
I forgot because I blocked
Female.
that one out of my head because it didn't make sense to me.
My pick for female fighter of the year, and I think will be for years to come, is Katie Taylor. I like Katie Taylor.
Kareem wants to know, he's got a couple of comments here about it, but he wanted to know, what about when Simon Brown was knocked out cold on his back, still throwing punches by Vincent Petway? I remember seeing
that. Counts. That's a knockout when you don't really, you still fighting and you're down.
Yeah. Best knockout of all time, though? I don't know. There's so many that, oh man, that's a different show altogether.
My favorite knockout of all time is the Zab Judah stinky leg. Okay, that's my favorite knockout.
Not only that, Rob, but when they dub it over with Cedric the Entertainer, who's talking about the fight, that he said he got knocked out in the most history of knocked outedness. He got back up, said something to the ref, and then fell back out.
Oh, that was against Costa Siu, right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree, Rob. I think that one might be my best. I like.
And then he attacked the referee Jay Nady.
I don't know that Canelo, when he laid out Kirkland and he kind of like swung all the way around before he fell. I mean, that was dramatic. That was a good one too.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
Yeah,
What about the
that's hard
bronze?
because I'm a
God.
Oh, what about the bronze bomber going down?
Bronze Bomber going down, but that's not as good at when he laid out Brazil. Now that was like instant. He fell like timber. I mean, that was pretty good too. But when Deontay is like you never can get him completely out. Like he has a hella fire chin. People don't talk about it, but like really he does, because it takes a lot for you to get his ass out of there. I mean, remember King Kong had him hurt.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
I forgot. James, who did you pick for male?
For
For
Male
male was
fighter.
the Can Man, Canelo.
Canelo.
I'm
And-
kind of leaning towards Cambosis because he went from totally obscure, nobody believed in him, to everybody wanting to fight him, and now willing to go to Australia to fight him. I mean, and he got the 4 titles. That's an amazing year, especially in the lightweight division. So I'm kind of leaning with Cambosis on this, but then I like Usyk for it as well, because I'm one of those people that was like not feeling it. I was thinking like he's not a real heavyweight, so how is he gonna contend with these real heavyweights? Like that was like I just couldn't see it. And then when he got in there and he showed his dominance against AJ, which there are bigger wins for him out there. That was my nice way of saying. But I mean, there are other wins out there for him that could be seen as even more valuable in the future. But like, so Usyk is one that he also walked away with 3 titles as a unified champion in a heavyweight division that I never thought he was going to really be able to compete against those huge heavyweights. But I think Cambosis, because of the fact that everybody want to fight him now, people are willing to travel to Australia, and most people didn't believe in him at all before that fight.
So you guys didn't make it easy for fighter of the year. We all picked somebody different. Now we all touched on Canelo and we all touched on Usyk, but I don't know if we can go a tie there. We might have to announce this one off air. Might have to check out heavybackboxing.com.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Also, Amanda Serrano, she had a great year too, guys. And she's unified title, and the way she beat Homegirl this last one, Gutierrez. Oh my god! I mean, she was unrecognizable after the fight.
Yeah, Serrano doesn't have any bad years.
That's true.
Every
She never
year's a
has a
good
bad year, so I feel like sometimes she's always
Just gets overlooked. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All
Rob?
right, y'all. So I'm not gonna put any of y'all on the spot because I didn't ask y'all to do this. So to save time, but I'm gonna give y'all my rundown of the new top 10 pound for pound list. This is mine. Now everybody has a different criteria. So let me explain first my criteria. To me, you have to actually be completely dominant in your division, or be able to move up in weight and win titles up in weight. And I'm talking 1, 2, 3 different weight classes.
I don't like
To
where
me.
this is going already.
Me neither, because it sounds like he reverted back to 2019 Rob, where all the small people couldn't be in the pound for pound. Remember that? Because they couldn't move up in weight.
Let's have it, Rob.
Here's my list. And this is the order that I have. Now, let me just say I completely disagree with ESPN's list that they recently released today. I think they're going based off of popularity, and this ain't no damn popularity contest, okay?
That's right.
Now, number 1 I have is Canelo Alvarez. I have Canelo as number 1. Number 2, I have Terrence Crawford. And let me just say that them two are very neck and neck right now, but you have to give Canelo the edge, but over Terrence. But they're very close. Number 3, I have Tyson Fury. He's still the best and one of the greatest heavyweights in my opinion, when he retires, he'll be one of the great heavyweights. Number 4, I put in Errol Spence. So even though he's had his issues with fighting recently because of the injuries, he's still a hell of a fighter, hell of a champion. So I have Errol at number 4. Number 5, I have the monster Innuendo. I'm finally giving credit where credit is due here because the guy is a very dominant fighter in that division. I don't see anybody beating him in that division, not even as good as Donaires look.
How do you have Spence ahead of Inoue?
I was thinking the same thing. And how is Inoue when you said they had to be able to move up 3 weight classes?
Here comes the debates, but I have Spence over Inoue because he's bigger in weight. So let's move on.
Makes sense.
It's
perfect. Just perfect.
Oh,
Number 6.
Where's my drink?
At number 6, I have Navarrete. Again, a very dominant fighter in the ranks, moved up. You cannot diminish what Navarrete has done. Number 7, I have Josh Taylor. He made big splashes this year by being undisputed. He's a hell of a fighter as well, and I think he has a very bright future coming up this year, starting with this year. Here's probably where it gets tricky, but I don't give a damn. Number 8, I have Mr. Stefan Fulton. Again, a dominant fighter who I see massive potential, and I think he's proven himself with this last fight. Number 9, Gervonta Tank Davis. And last but not least, Ron Francisco Estrada.
I agree with that. I got Juan Francisco up there.
As number 10?
But
He's up there. He's up there.
Rob, you're making your list as what you believe, not necessarily what's been proven. Yeah.
Okay, then I challenge you because who hasn't proven himself on that list? Every single one of those fighters have proven themselves.
So you believe, well, even the order of your list, though, you believe Spence has proved himself over Inoue? You honestly believe that?
Spence is at a weight class that is uber competitive compared to
He ain't fought the top guys in it yet.
He's fought. Even though Mikey Garcia came up, Mikey Garcia is a big name.
He just lost to Sandor Martin. We ain't gonna talk about him. He's in a weight class that he should not be in. He's fighting too big. Okay, so Mikey Garcia's moving up 2 weight classes doesn't prove shit for me for Spence. I'm sorry.
It was he met Danny Garcia, didn't you? You met Danny Garcia? Because that's the one who just fought.
I mean, Mikey Garcia means more than Danny Garcia. Mikey Garcia win means more than Danny.
Danny Garcia is irrelevant at this point.
I mean, that was Spence's last fight. That's what I'm saying. And
So,
he at least is he performed better at 140 to me. But he did have some close fights with Keith Thurman and Sean Porter.
I mean, you asked the question to me, though. He's in a better division. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how many are we supposed to do? Because you did all 10.
I think, I can't even give my top 10. I'd have to plat that out a little bit better.
I said I'll do it. I'll go.
But we did skip over one. Who was the biggest impact on 2021? Biggest impact in boxing?
So I didn't know if you were asking about fighter there or if you're asking about like what specific event or situation was the biggest impact.
Basically in 2021, what was the biggest headlines for the sport, if you think about it, or what was drawing the biggest attention to boxing? Unfortunately, and I'd hate to say it, it probably is Jake Paul.
So from my perspective, I think the biggest headline for the sport of boxing is the undisputed, baby. The undisputed champions are back. The undisputed titles are now being fought and being put up for grabs for legacy purposes. I think that had the biggest impact in the sport.
I like that. And you're not wrong because for so long that those four belts were never, unified, and now all of a sudden it seems to be on a regular basis. We've been getting these undisputeds like it's candy lately. I'm loving it. I hope it continues. But I good on you, Rob.
To me, I think Wilder and Fury 3 was the biggest impactful fight for boxing. Just because of the hype behind it, just because of, them not going to do it at first, Fury going with AJ, then, when that fell apart when Wilder won his mediation for that third fight. And it brought together two different cartels, as James likes to call it. It took multiple different companies working together as far as networks as well to make that fight happen. And everybody did it. They negotiated, they agreed on sharing time, they agreed on content, having the pay-per-view on 2 channels. They agreed on the commentators from both sets of networks. So I feel like that was the most impactful, and I hope that we continue to see more than one company working together to give us big fights like that. And it also made a lot of money. Fury had his fans. They tuned in. They watched from overseas. It was huge because Wilder wanted to get that redemption. And then the impact, because so many people were watching and it was back and forth, that's what boxing is about. It displayed what makes boxing stand apart from other sports. So all of that and saying, I think that was the most impactful fight of the year. Unified titles, some people they're grabbing these belts because it's the easier division for them to get them in. And previously people have devalued the titles, or we said the sanctioning bodies are devaluing the titles. So when you do get them unified like that, I mean, you do get to be in the record books, but we still got to work on these titles meaning more, having more value independently, so that when you do get a unified situation, it means like you are definitively the undisputed. That's what unification used to mean. So I wanted to go back to where you really fought everybody and got that unification, or you beat somebody that beat somebody in order to get that unification. So that's the only thing negative about the unification. But on the other hand, as Rob was pointing out, it is positive that they even want to try to have legacy and have that unified status as a part of their records.
Okay. Yes, well said.
Yeah, that got deep, didn't it? Deeper than I thought.
All right, James.
So this is the most impactful person or personality of the year,
or
just biggest impact in the sport of boxing.
Biggest impact. I think the Fury Wilder thing was huge. The way they work together as two different organizations coming together to make this fight happen, and the way they did it is as professionally as they did it, really, really impressive. So I would go with that particular event as a first choice. Then secondly, the fact that Canelo set out his plan, went after it and got it done in short order. It took him less than a year to do it, but he made unification, and that was really, really impressive. And also he's looking to move up and in a sense do it again. So that's a close runner up. And I don't know, I think the most impactful is Fury Wilder, simply because of the way those two organizations came together to get this done. That was really impressive. that was good. It was good for boxing. It was
Yeah.
good for you know, pay-per-view numbers were there, so the participation was way up. Is what boxing needed. That was a shot in the arm that boxing always needs. So that's that.
For sure.
That's my point.
And with that, Heavyweight Boxing Awards Wilder Fury 3 is the event with the biggest impact in boxing of 2021, with the runner-up of all these undisputeds actually on the line. All right, guys. I think this is going to wrap up the show. We did run late because of all the technical issues in the beginning. Rob, do you have anything else you were wanting to say? I know you were kind of keeping an agenda, kind of.
That was exactly what I had. Everything, but I'm gonna come back to y'all in the weeks ahead on that pound for pound list.
You're expecting us to all have our own individual top 10 pound for pound list? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
We
we
just do
need to
top.
have.
All right. Well, that's definitely something to check out. So check us out next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches. Check us out. All of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing, www.heavybagboxing.com.